Panahon, iisa at nakatatak ang kauna-unahang himpilan sa paghahatid ng serbisyo publiko at balita. Ito ang Radio Mindanao Networks, higit-6 na dekada sa paglilingkod sa masang Pilipino. Sa Metro Manila, ito ang DZXL 558 Radyo Trabaho, ang inyong gabay sa hanap buhay.
Pagbati sa lahat ng ating mga masugid na mga manonood at listeners sa araw na ito, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga mag-aaral.
Muli, nakita na naman tayo sa ating programa, ang Radyo Edukasyon ng Schools Division Office ng San Juan at ang ating kapartner sa Himpapawid,
Ang Radio Mindanao Network.
Magandang umaga, Pilipinas!
Ako si Abelardo Tamares Jr. ng San Juan City Science High School.
At ako naman si Maricris Beren ng San Juan Senior High School.
Ang inyong makakasama
Sa isang oras pagkatanghal
ng ating programa. Partner, takot at kaba ang dulot ng pandemic, no? Ngunit sa kabila nito ay patuloy pa rin ang buhay. Kaya tayo sa STU San Juan, patuloy ang pagbibigay ng kaalaman, pag-asa, at ngiti sa mga labi ng ating mag-aaral. Sa araw na ito, ating tunghayan ang Brave Pandemic Moves in Learning na isinagawa ng Mathematics Department Teachers ng San Juan National High School para sa mga batang San Juanenyo. Kaya mga bata, get your paper and pen. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video lessons.
kabila ng suliraning dulot ng pandemya?
Yes, partner. Isa lamang yan sa mga challenges na napagtagumpayan ng mga guro at mag-aaral. Pagsubok na susukat sa tatag ng pag-iisip at dedikasyon ng mga guro sa larangan ng pagsasalin ng kaalaman sa mga batang San Manenyo.
Tama ka dyan, partner. At ang maganda nito, lagi tayong handa mga guro sa katatagumpay ng new normal in education. Tayo ay patuloy na tatayo at lalaban para sa katatagumpay ng layunin ng DepEd na makapaghatid ng kaalaman sa ating mag-aaral.
Partner, ang pagtuturo ay mas naging challenging sa atin dahil sa blended learning, modular at online approaches. Ang mga paraan ng pagtuturo ito ay talaga namang bago sa atin. Ikaw, partner, paano ka nag-a-adjust sa pagtuturo sa bata ngayong new normal?
Naku, partner, masasabi ko talagang challenging itong blended learning. Bukod sa pagsulat ng modules, ang paggawa ng video lessons ay nakauubos din ng oras. Ngunit, bilang isang lingkod bayan, para sa bata, tuloy na tuloy ang laban.
Wow naman! Katulad ka pala ng ating gurong itatanggong ngayon sa ating mga taga-subaybay. Kaya naman, panoorin na po natin ang inihandang video lesson ni Mr. Jason Simbaho ng San Juan National High School.
Siya ang gurong nagpapamalas ng dedikasyon sa paggawa ng mga video lessons sa mathematics para sa ating mga mag-aaral. Kaya naman, panoorin po natin ito.
Good day, dear students. I am your math teacher, Mr. Jason Simbaho. Today, we're going to nourish your mind with useful information to improve your mathematical skills. So have your self-learning module, notebook, and pen with you. Let's get started. In this video presentation, I'll be guiding you in the first learning module for the second quarter of this subject mathematics for the grade 8 level. The topic is linear inequalities. So specifically, lesson 1 of this module is all about the introduction to linear inequalities. What you need to know. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to differentiate linear inequalities from linear equations. At the same time, illustrate and graph linear inequalities in two variables. What's in? Currently, you are grade 8 students, right? So let's recall and go back in time as we revisit your grade 7. Let's recall your past lesson by answering this. Determine whether the following equations is linear or not. 1. X plus y equals 2. The answer is linear. 5z squared minus y raised to 4 equals 4. The answer is not linear. Negative 7a equals b. The answer is linear. b equals 3. The answer is linear. And last, xy plus z equals 2. The answer is not linear. In general, linear equation is an algebraic expression whose graph is a straight line, having the highest degree of 1, and can be written in the standard form ax plus by equals c, where a and b cannot be equal to 0, and a, b, and c are real numbers. How about linear inequality? Linear inequality, on the other hand, is a mathematical statement involving a linear expression that uses any of the inequality symbol, such as less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, instead of the inequality symbol. It may also involve one or more variables whose exponent is 1. For examples, 3x plus y is less than negative 9. X minus y is greater than 12. Y is less than or equal to negative x minus 3. Y is less than x. And 2y minus x is greater than or equal to negative 16. Graphing linear inequalities. In graphing linear inequalities, when the line is drawn on the plane is divided into 3 sets of points, namely, the 2 half planes and the line itself. The solution of a linear inequality is one of the half planes. It may or may not include the boundary line that divides the plane depending on the given inequality. If the given inequality is a strict inequality, one that uses the symbols less than or greater than, then the boundary line is not part of the solution set. If the given inequality is non-strict inequality, one that uses the symbols less than or equal, greater than or equal, then the boundary line is part of the solution set. Example, graph y greater than 4. For step 1, to draw the boundary line, change the inequality symbol to an equal sign, plot the points, and draw the line on the Cartesian plane. So if the given inequality is y greater than 4, it will become y equals 4, whose point is 0, 4. Remember to use a dotted line for a strict inequality. For step 2, choose any test point that does not lie on the boundary line and substitute its coordinate into the inequality. So if our test point is 0, 5, the inequality becomes 5 greater than 4 by substitution. Step 3. If the resulting statement is true, shade the half plane that contains the test point. That is the solution of the inequality. On the other hand, if the resulting statement is false, shade the half plane that does not contain the test point. 5 greater than 4, a true statement. So therefore, we shade the half plane that contains the point 0, 5. Example 2. Graph y less than 2x plus 3. Same step. So for step 1, to draw the boundary line, change the inequality symbol to an equal sign, plot the points, and draw the line on the Cartesian plane. So if the given inequality is y less than 2x plus 3, it will become y equals 2x plus 3, whose points are 0, 3, and negative 3 over 2, 0 by x and y intercept. Again, remember to use a dotted line for a strict inequality. For step 2, choose any test point that does not lie on the boundary line, such as 0, 0. For step 3, if the resulting statement is true, you have to shade the half plane that contains the test point. Otherwise, shade the half plane that does not contain the test point. By replacing x and y with the coordinates of the chosen point, we obtain 0 is less than 2 times 0 plus 3. Therefore, 0 is less than 3. Zero less than 3 is a true statement. Therefore, we shade the half plane that contains the point 0, 0. Example 3. Graph y less than or equal to 5x minus 2. Same step. To draw the boundary line, change the inequality symbol to an equal sign, plot the points, and draw the line on the Cartesian plane. We obtain y equals 5x minus 2, whose coordinates are 0, negative 2, and 2 over 5, 0 by x and y intercepts. This time, use a solid line for a non-streak inequality. Again, use a solid line for a non-streak inequality. So for step 2, choose any test point that does not lie on the boundary line, such as 0, 0. For step 3, if the resulting statement is true, shade the half plane that contains the test point. Otherwise, you have to shade the half plane that does not contain the test point. So by replacing x and y with the coordinates of the chosen point, we obtain 0 less than or equal to 5 times 0 minus 2. Therefore, 0 is less than or equal to negative 2. 0 less than or equal to negative 2 is a false statement. Therefore, we shade the half plane that does not contain the point 0, 0. What you need to remember: a linear inequality is a mathematical statement involving a linear expression that uses any of the inequality symbols less than, greater than, less than or equal, or greater than or equal. Second, the solution set of a linear inequality is a half plane. It may or may not include the boundary line, which is the line that divides the plane into two halves. Third, a streak inequality is an inequality that uses either of the symbols, greater than or less than. Its solution set does not include the boundary line of its graph. Fourth, a non-streak inequality is an inequality that uses either of the symbols, greater than or equal, less than or equal. Its solution set includes the boundary line of its graph. And last, the solution set of a linear inequality can be graphed as follows. First, draw the boundary line. Second, choose a test point and substitute its coordinates. And third, shade the half plane that represents the solution set of the inequality. So before we formally end our lesson, let us see how much you've learned from our lesson for today. Tell whether the given statement is true or false. 2x plus y equals 3 is a linear inequality in two variables. The answer is false. Second, linear inequality in two variables uses the symbol less than, greater than, less than or equal, and greater than or equal. The answer is true. Third, a solid line is used to graph the boundary line of a non-strict inequality. The answer is true. The points on the line in this graph is part of the solution set of the inequality. The answer is false. And number 5, the point 11 is part of the solution set of the inequality represented by the graph. The answer is true.
That's it. We have completed our lesson for today. Congratulations to you and see you in the next lesson.
Partner, iba na talaga ang level ng ating mga guro sa pagtuturo ng signayan. Mga certified techie na nga sila kagaya ni Sir Jason Simbahon. Mabuhay ka, Sir Jason.
Correct ka dyan, partner. Isa si Sir Jason na talaga namang may malaking pag-ibig sa kanyang napiling propesyon, ang makapagbigay ng kaalaman sa bawat batang Sanjuanenyo. At dahil dyan, partner,
Bigyan naman natin siya ng 3 bagsak. Gusto ko yung linyang pag-ibig sa propesyong napili. Ang sarap namang pakinggan. Talaga namang nakagagaan ang pakiramdam.
syempre naman, partner, proud tayo bilang mga guro. Isa tayo sa mga iniuturing na pandemic heroes or the modern heroes, ika nga.
Believe na ako sa iyo, partner. Tunay nga namang dedikasyon at pagmamahal ang kailangan sa pagtuturo lalo na sa panahon ng new normal in education. And speaking of dedication and love, partner, hindi magpapahuli dyan ang mga batang Sanjuanenyo. They are as passionate as their teachers when it comes to their love for learning.
Gusto ko yan, partner. Ang mga mag-aaral na masasabi natin the heart of learning. Ang mga makabagong kabataan ng San Juan.
At bilang pagsaludo sa katatagan at pag-isikap ng ating mga mag-aaral, sabay-sabay po natin panoorin ang video ito.
Sadyang learning is a continuous process, partner. Indeed, learning is unstoppable.
Tumpa ka dyan, partner. At naway sa mga kabataang nanonood ngayon ay magsilbing inspirasyon sa kanila ang husay na ipinakita ng mga mag-aaral na ito. And for that, we salute you, kids. Partner, teka lang. Meron pa tayong isang handog na video lesson na sigurado magugustuhan ng ating mga mag-aaral. Ito naman ay may kinalaman sa conditional statement.
Kaya huwag kayong bibitiw sa ating programa. Sabay-sabay po tayo matuto sa inihandang video lesson ni Mr. Jomar A. Bayota. Tunghayan po natin ito.
Good day, everyone. This is Teacher Jomar. Today is another day, another blessing and opportunity for us to learn something new about math. Prepare your self-learning module, your pen and paper with you, and let us have a wonderful day of learning. For today's lesson, we will learn about conditional statement. This lesson is based on the most essential learning competency. The objectives are the following. First, determine the relationship between the hypothesis and the conclusion of an if-then statement. Second, transform a statement into an equivalent if-then statement. What conclusion can you draw based on the pictures? First picture. Very good. The student will learn more and will have a better chance of getting a good grade. Second picture. That's right. The people are still scared of going out due to the threat of COVID-19. Third picture. Alright. The athlete will become healthy. How would you react to a situation that asks you to make a decision that will affect other people? Remember that life is all about decisions. Whether you like it or not, we always have a choice. And it is up to us to make valid conclusions in the context of a situation that we are in. We should strive to follow the saying, the study of logic will help us to learn and increase our skills in critical thinking. Before we proceed to our lesson for today, let's do the activity entitled Bawal Judgmental. Tell whether the following statements are valid or not valid. First, if a person believes in himself, then he can do anything. Francis can do anything, then he believes in himself. If your answer is not valid, you are correct. Second, if it rains, then the basketball game will be cancelled. It rains. Therefore, the basketball game is cancelled. If your answer is valid, you are correct. Number 3. If two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. Angle A and angle B are supplementary. Therefore, they form a linear pair. The correct answer is not valid. Number 4. If the lines intersect, then they are not parallel. Lines M and N are not parallel. Therefore, they intersect. The correct answer is valid. What have you noticed about the first statement? What do you think is the common among these statements? You have just encountered conditional statements, or what we call if-then statements. An if-then statement is called a conditional statement. It consists of two parts, the hypothesis and the conclusion. When we say hypothesis, it states the given facts that are assumed to be true, and conclusion, what needs to be proven or established to be true. And implication is a statement formed by hypothesis and conclusion. The statement if P then Q, written as P implies Q, is a conditional statement with propositional variables P and Q. The if part, P, is the hypothesis, and the then part, Q, is the conclusion. You already knew about conditional statement or if-then statement. For you to know more about this topic, let us have activity number 1. Direction. Identify the hypothesis and conclusion of the following statement. Number 1. If the COVID-19 pandemic stops, then we will all be happy. The hypothesis is COVID-19 pandemic stops. The conclusion, we will all be happy. Number 2, if a student is diligent, then he is recognized by his teachers. The hypothesis is a student is diligent. The conclusion, he is recognized by his teachers. Number 3, if two angles are right angles, then they are congruent. The hypothesis is two angles are right angles. Then the conclusion, they are congruent. Number 4, if a number is even, then it is divisible by 2. The hypothesis is a number is even. The conclusion, it is divisible by 2. Number 5, if a shape is a circle, then it is not a polygon. The hypothesis is a shape is a circle. Then the conclusion, it is not a polygon. Now that you can already identify the hypothesis and the conclusion in the if-then statement, you are now ready to form a conditional statement using the if-then form. Now, let us do the next activity. Direction. Write a conditional statement given the hypothesis and the conclusion. Number 1, hypothesis, you live in San Juan. The conclusion, you live in the National Capital Region. What is the if-then form? You're right. The answer is if you live in San Juan, then you live in the National Capital Region. Number 2, the given hypothesis is 2 is even. The given conclusion is 5 is odd. What is the if-then form? Very good. The answer is if 2 is even, then 5 is odd. Number 3, the given hypothesis is a triangle is equilateral. The given conclusion is a triangle is equiangular. What is the if-then form? That is correct. The answer is if a triangle is equilateral, then it is equiangular. Number 4, the given hypothesis is a number is prime. The conclusion, it has exactly 2 factors. What is the if-then form? Correct. The answer is if a number is a prime, then it has exactly 2 factors. Number 5, hypothesis. 2 coplanar lines meet. The conclusion, the lines are intersecting. What is the if-then form? That is correct. The answer is, if 2 coplanar lines meet, then the lines are intersecting. Now that you are well versed in converting conditional statement to if-then form and can easily identify the hypothesis and the conclusion, when do you say that the implication is true or false? The implication states that P implies Q is always true except in the case the P is true and Q is false. And now that you are near to the end of our lesson, prepare your pen and paper because it is important to evaluate what you have learned. I will give you 5 seconds to answer each question and choose the letter of the correct answer. Number 1. In the conditional statement, if I study hard, then I will get good grades. Which of the following is a hypothesis? Is it letter A, if I study hard? Letter B, I study hard? Letter C, then I will get good grades? Letter D, I will get good grades. The correct answer is letter B. I study hard. Number 2, which of the following is the conclusion of the if-then statement? If you are in love, then you are inspired. Is it letter A, if you are in love? Letter B, you are inspired? Letter C, if you are inspired? Or is it letter D, you are in love? The correct answer is letter B, you are inspired. Number 3. What is the if-then form of the statement, a person who loves his work will be happy? A. A person who loves his work will be happy. B. If a person loves his work, then he will be happy. C. A person loves his work, therefore he is happy. D. If a person does not love his work, then he will be happy. The correct answer is letter B. If a person loves his work, then he will be happy. Number 4. Which of the following is the conclusion in the statement? If the points lie on the same line, then they are collinear. Is it letter A, if the points lie on the same line? Letter B, the points lie on the same line? Letter C, then they are collinear? Or is it letter D, they are collinear? If your answer is letter D, They are calling yarn. You are correct. How was the short activity? Did you find it difficult? Just keep on practicing on the examples and assessment found on your self-learning module. Remember that in math, practice makes you better. I hope that you have learned a lot in our episode today. Again, this is Teacher Jomar reminding you to keep safe. Have a nice day and see you again next time.
Kahit pala sa mathematics partner, no? Meron din pala tayong tinatawag na if and then. Mala, cause and effect ang dating. Magaling! Napakahusay, Sir Jomar.
Yes naman, partner. So sa mga manonood nating mag-aral, if you listen carefully to the video lesson, then you will get high scores in your quiz on conditional statements. O, di ba?
Quiz agad? Di ba ka talaga partner? Na-apply mo agad I'll try it also. At ito na nga, if nakinig kayong maigi at may natutunan sa ating palabas, then marapat lamang na pasalamatan natin ang mga tao sa likod ng programa nito.
Pasok na pasok, partner. Kaya pasalamatan natin ang STU San Juan sa pamumuno ni Dr. Cecil G. Carandang in partnership with the Radio Mindanao Network na naging instrumento sa tagumpay ng programang ito. Sila ang naging sandigan sa pagpapatuloy ng dekalidad na edukasyon sa kabila ng pandemya. And without their support, this program will not be possible.
At shoutout po sa lahat ng mga guro sa Dibisyon ng San Juan, sa ating mga mag-aaral, at sa inyong lahat na sumubaybay sa programang ito.
Pasasalamat din po sa local government unit ng San Juan sa pamumuno ng ating butihing alkalde, Honorable Francis Zamora, sa patuloy na pagsuporta sa DepEd San Juan. Mabuhay po kayo!
Muli, kami po ang inyong mga lingkod. Ako po si Teacher Maricris, ang inyong partner sa pagkatuto.
Teacher Don, ang inyong partner sa pagkatuto na nagsasabing, never stop learning
Because life never stops teaching. And always have fun learning here in San Juan.
Paalam!
Stay safe
And God bless you all!
Dibisyo ng San Juan, kanlungan ka ng karunungan. Haligi ng tanan, hangat sa'yo'y katanyagan. Dibisyo ng San Juan, sandigan ka ng kabataan. Pandayan ang talino at galing tulay sa ating mithiin. Larawan ka ng katotohanan, mula sa'yo nagbubunga ng katapatan. Sa sipag ng dibisyo ng San Juan, tagumpay ay makakamtan. O dibisyo ng San Juan, sandigan ka ng katotohanan. Sa'yo nagmumula ang kasaganahan, sisimulang katanyagan. O dibisyo ng San Juan, bantayo ka ng kalayaan. Karunungan at katapatan, itatanyag kahit saan. O dibisyo ng San Juan, karunungan at katapatan, itatanyag kahit saan. O dibisyo ng San Juan.
That news was brought to you by ACS Manufacturing Corporation, ISO certified, world-class quality.